The university corridors were buzzing, with students rushing to their next lecture. The faint smell of coffee and autumn leaves lingering in the air. Jungkook's backpack felt heavier than usual, not because of the textbooks, but because of the anxiety knotting his stomach. He adjusted his glasses nervously, glancing at the whiteboard where group assignments were pinned. Group B, Jungkook and Taehyung. His heart skipped. Taehyung, the campus heartthrob, the guy everyone seemed to know, with the effortless smile and the kind of presence that could make entire rooms pause. And now he was stuck in the same group as Jungkook. Jungkook's palms were sweaty. He was the nerdy, quiet type, the kind who preferred libraries to parties, spreadsheets to social gatherings. And Taehyung, he was the exact opposite, popular, charming, confident. The kind of person who seemed untouchable. And Jungkook had been in love with him for 2 years. Not the loud, dramatic kind of love. No, Jungkook's love was silent, careful, the kind that lived in stolen glances and unsent confessions, the kind that made his chest ache every time Taeyong, completely unaware that someone in the back row was memorizing the way his eyes curved when he smiled. 2 years of watching, 2 years of wanting, 2 years of knowing it could never happen. Hey, Taeyang said later, standing in front of Jungkook's desk. Up close, he was worse, better, terrifying. Jungkook swallowed. Hi, we're in the same group. Taehyung smiled, easy and warm. You free after class? We should plan. Jungkook nodded too fast. Yeah, I mean yes. Taehyung laughed softly. Relax, I don't bite. You already destroyed me, Jungkook thought. Taehyung laughed softly, a sound that made Jungkook's chest tighten for reasons he didn't want to admit. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. I'm good with deadlines, mostly. They spent the first hour just organizing the project, deciding who would research what. Taehyung was patient, listening to Jungkook's ideas, nodding encouragingly, never rushing, never judging. Jungkook felt seen, truly seen, and with every smile Taehyung gave him, every casual comment about the project, his heart seemed to beat faster. By the third meeting, something had shifted. It was no longer just a school project. They lingered over coffee at the campus cafe, discussing ideas and sharing stories. Jungkook found himself laughing at jokes he never thought were funny. And Taehyung's laugh, a deep, genuine sound, made him feel light, almost weightless. You know, Taehyung said one afternoon as they spread their notes across a library table, you're actually really good at this. You really know your stuff. Jungkook's ears burned. Thank you, he mumbled, fiddling with the strap of his bag. His heart raced. Was this praise or something more? For the next few weeks, their bond grew. They stayed after classes to work. Their meetings became more than just project work. They shared lunch under the oak tree, laughing over silly jokes and stories about their childhoods. Jungkook learned that Taehyung loved painting, had a secret obsession with old classic movies, and could make the most random, hilarious faces when he was focused or frustrated. Texted about small details. Even shared late night study, noticed every small gesture, the way Taehyung tucked his hair behind his ear, the way he tilted his head when listening, the way he laughed at things only Jungkook would say. It was magical. One rainy evening, as they walked back from the library, their umbrellas bumping together, Jungkook dared to glance at Taehyung. I'm glad we got paired together, he said softly, almost whispering, afraid to be heard by anyone else. Taehyung's gaze softened. Me too, he said. Honestly, you're not at all what I expected. Jungkook's heart fluttered violently. Not at all what I expected. He wanted to ask what that meant, but the word stuck in his throat. Instead, he smiled, a shy, awkward smile. As they reached the university gate, Taehyung looked at him seriously for a moment. Hey, next week, after our last presentation, we should grab some coffee. Just the two of us. No project talk. I want to say something to you. Jungkook's chest nearly exploded with joy. I'd like that, he whispered. That night, lying in bed, Jungkook replayed every moment, every laugh, every shared glance, every kind word. It felt surreal. 2 years of silently harboring a crush on Taehyung, and now he was here, talking to him, laughing with him, sharing moments that felt intimate. Does he feel the same? He wondered. Or am I just imagining it? Maybe this is real. Maybe my dreams are finally coming true. But little did he know, coming days, Jungkook was waiting in cafe. They have decided to meet. He had sent a few messages, just checking if Taehyung wanted to meet for their decided coffee session, but there was no reply. A knot twisted in Jungkook's stomach. Maybe he's busy, he told himself. But deep down, an uneasy feeling clawed at his chest. By the afternoon, the mystery became painfully clear. He was sitting in the student lounge, carefully organizing his notes, when Taehyung walked in, laughing, energetic, but he was not alone. Hana. Hana was behind him, too close, laughing the way Taehyung used to laugh with Jungkook. Jungkook's chest hollowed. Hana was Taehyung's best friend, who had been studying in New York for years, had returned, and the way she and Taehyung greeted each other. Jungkook felt his heart freeze. Jungkook blinked. He should have known it was just a reunion, friends catching up, but the scene tore at something fragile inside him. Taehyung's smiles, once bright and open for Jungkook, were now exclusively for Hana. The late night messages, the small gestures, the shared jokes all vanished like mist. He tried to call Taehyung over later, at least for a few words. But Taehyung waved distractedly, laughter spilling over as Hana whispered something in his ear. Jungkook's fingers curled around the edge of the table. He felt invisible. The university corridors were buzzing, with students rushing to their next lecture. The faint smell of coffee and autumn leaves lingering in the air. Jungkook's backpack felt heavier than usual, not because of the textbooks, but because of the anxiety knotting his stomach. He adjusted his glasses nervously, glancing at the whiteboard where group assignments were pinned. He tried to tell himself it was nothing, that maybe, just maybe, Taehyung was busy, but the pang in his heart whispered a harsher truth. Maybe he was just a placeholder, a friend for convenience, a passing interest. The day it hit him hardest, Jungkook had waited outside the cafe they had often visited. He had hoped, maybe just today, they could share that coffee, that small moment. But when Taehyung arrived, it was hand in hand with Hana, animated and carefree. Hey Jungkook, Taehyung greeted, but his eyes flicked briefly, almost apologetically, before returning to Hana. Long time no see. Jungkook forced a small smile, swallowing the lump in his throat. Why, yeah, long time. He didn't stay. He couldn't. The warmth he had cherished, the connection he had treasured was gone, replaced by a sharp, empty ache. His chest felt heavy, every step away from Taehyung dragging him down further. He had thought he was special, that Taehyung's attention meant something, but now, seeing Taehyung's world shift entirely to Hana, all he could feel was heartbreak. So this is it, he convinced himself. I was never special to him. I was just fun, just someone to pass the time with until something or someone more important came along. Jungkook saw Taehyung from a distance almost every day, always with Hana, always worried, always busy. It confirmed everything Jungkook feared. Of course he chose her. Why wouldn't he? Jungkook overheard whispers behind him. Didn't Taehyung used to hang out with that nerdy guy? Yeah, Guess he got bored. Jungkook's throat closed. He didn't correct them, because maybe they were right. Jungkook stopped reaching out. He stopped checking messages. He watched from afar as Taehyung and Hana grew inseparable, left Jungkook feeling like an outsider in his own story. One rainy evening, he found himself sitting alone on the rooftop of the library, rain dripping from his hair, soaking through his jacket, but he didn't move. He stared at the distant city lights, trying to make sense of the whirlwind of emotions inside him. Was I just a distraction? He wondered. Someone to laugh with when convenient, but never someone to care about truly. Tears blurred his vision. For 2 years, he had nursed a quiet, hopeful crush, a secret dream, and now it felt like everything had been swept away in a cold, merciless tide. He had convinced himself that he was invisible, and it seemed painfully, undeniably true. A notification on his phone made him flinch. A message from Taehyung. He opened it, fingers trembling. Hey, I know I've been distant. I just. Jungkook slammed his phone down. I don't want to hear it. He didn't read the rest. He didn't need to. Each word would only reopen the wound that had been bleeding for days. Meanwhile, somewhere across campus, Taehyung sat in his small apartment. His phone buzzed relentlessly, multiple messages waiting, unanswered. Taehyung ran his hands through his hair, a deep sigh escaping him. His mind was heavy, weighed down with guilt and worry. He had promised himself he would protect his friend, that he would be there when needed. And now, that promise was pulling him away from Jungkook, the one person he wanted to be close to. Taehyung's chest tightened. He wanted to tell him, to explain, to make Jungkook understand, but how could he? How could he explain why he had pulled away without revealing Hana's secret before she was ready? Hana's condition was worse than anyone knew. Every call, every visit, reminded Taehyung of the promise he had made years ago. If Hana ever needed him, he would drop everything. And now, she needed him the most. Taehyung sat beside Hana in a dim hospital room that smelled like disinfectant and fear. Hana looked thinner than he remembered, paler, too still. You don't have to stay, Hana murmured. Yes, I do, Taehyung replied instantly. Hana smiled faintly. You always say that. Hana coughed, a sharp, ugly sound. Taehyung leaned forward immediately, worry etched into every line of his face. You look tired, Hana said softly. Taehyung laughed without humor. You should see the other guy. Hana studied him. Is this about him? I just don't understand why he's avoiding me. Hana studied him carefully, noticing the worry lines, the exhaustion, the way Taehyung's hands shook as he adjusted the IV stand beside the bed. He's hurt, Hana said quietly. You disappeared, Taehyung. He thought you didn't care. And right now, he's drowning in that pain. You can't fix it until he understands why you left. Taehyung's chest tightened. I didn't leave him. I. You had to, Hana interrupted gently yet firmly, for me. But now it's time for him to hear the truth, and I think he'll listen if you explains it. Taehyung's eyes met Hana's, desperate and uncertain. You want me to let him know now? Hana nodded. The university corridors were buzzing, with students rushing to their next lecture. The faint smell of coffee and autumn leaves lingering in the air. Jungkook's backpack felt heavier than usual, not because of the textbooks, but because of the anxiety knotting his stomach. He adjusted his glasses nervously, glancing at the whiteboard where group assignments were pinned. Next morning, Taehyung cornered Jungkook outside the library. Talk to me, he said, voice low, desperate. Jungkook didn't stop walking. I'm busy. Please. That word. It almost broke him. Jungkook turned slowly. Why? So you can disappear again? Taehyung flinched. I never meant to hurt you, Taehyung said. But you did, Jungkook replied calmly. And you didn't even notice. Silence. Taehyung looked like he wanted to say something, like words were clawing their way up his throat. But he swallowed them. Take care, Jungkook said, stepping away. Taehyung watched him go. It was during one of these quiet evenings in the library that he heard the familiar, soft voice, one he hadn't expected to hear for months. Jungkook, can we talk? He turned sharply. Hana stood there, looking pale and fragile, yet his eyes were steady, piercing through Jungkook's walls of hurt. Hana, Jungkook whispered, confusion and suspicion warring in his chest. What? What are you doing here? Hana took a deep breath. I came to explain. His voice trembled slightly, and Jungkook noticed the faint shadows under his eyes. Something wasn't right. Explain what? Jungkook asked cautiously, his hands gripping the edges of the table. Why you and Taehyung? Why are you so close? Why did he just abandon me? Hana's lips pressed into a thin line. It's complicated. I didn't want you to find out this way. Jungkook's brow furrowed. Find out what, Hana? The word spilled out in a rush. Hana lowered his gaze, hesitating, then finally said, I have brain tumor, Jungkook actually. When I came back from New York, I didn't want to burden anyone. But Taehyung, he just dropped everything. Jungkook's breath caught. Wait, what? I needed him, Hana continued softly. He didn't stop caring about you. He had to be there for me. He couldn't tell you, because I don't want anyone to know. I just didn't want to see pity in other eyes. And because of me, misunderstanding developed between both of you. Jungkook stared at him, shock and guilt washing over him. The pieces of the past weeks clicked into place, the distance, the missed messages, the laughter that wasn't meant for him alone but for a desperate friend in need. I thought he didn't care, Jungkook whispered, tears threatening to spill. I thought I was just nothing to him. Hana shook his head, eyes full of compassion. You're not nothing. You mean everything to him. He's just torn. He wants to be there for me, but he also cares about you so much. He just didn't know how to balance it, and he didn't want to hurt you. Jungkook's fingers trembled as he pressed them to his chest, feeling the weight of his own pain and the truth that had been hidden. All this time, it wasn't what I thought. No, Hana said gently, not even close. But you need to talk to him, Jungkook, before it's too late, before he thinks you've completely shut him out. Jungkook nodded slowly, swallowing the lump in his throat. I, I'll try. Hana gave a small encouraging smile. Good, he's waiting for you, and he wants to make things right. You just need to let him. As Jungkook left the library that night, his mind swirled with emotions, shock, guilt, relief, and a cautious hope. For the first time in weeks, he felt a flicker of understanding. And now, Jungkook knew the truth. The boy who had once seemed so distant was never really gone. He had just been caught in a storm of friendship and love. Jungkook's feet moved almost on autopilot, carrying him toward the familiar library rooftop. The sky was heavy with dark clouds, remnants of the afternoon storm lingering, and the city lights shimmered through the mist. His heart pounded like a drum in his chest, equal parts fear, hope, and longing. And there he was, Taehyung, standing alone in the rain, drenched, hair plastered to his forehead, eyes searching the distance as if expecting a miracle. The moment Jungkook stepped closer, Taehyung's head snapped up, his eyes widened, and for a heartbeat the world seemed to stop. Jungkook, Taehyung whispered, his voice barely audible over the rain. Jungkook's throat tightened, tears streaming freely now. Taehyung, why? Why didn't you tell me? He cried, his voice cracking with weeks of bottled up pain. I thought I thought I meant nothing to you. Taehyung's eyes filled with anguish. He closed the distance between them, water dripping from his soaked jacket. How do you know? Oh, so Hana told you. No, Jungkook, it was never like that. You mean everything to me. You've always meant everything to me. Jungkook's knees weakened, and he had to grip the railing to stay upright. Then, why? He demanded, voice shaking. Why did you disappear? Why did you let me think that I wasn't enough? Taehyung reached out, cupping Jungkook's face with trembling hands. Because I had to, Hana. She needed me, and I couldn't. I couldn't explain. Not then, not while she didn't want anyone to know. Jungkook's breath hitched, and he felt the truth in every word. I I was so lonely without you. Every day. I thought I was losing you, he admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Taehyung's forehead pressed against Jungkook's, rain mingling with their tears. You were never losing me. I've loved you for 2 years, Jungkook. I've loved you quietly, from the moment I saw you, and every day I wasn't with you. I was thinking of you, missing you, wishing I could hold you, tell you, make you feel safe. The world around them blurred, the city lights, the falling rain, the distant hum of life, all faded until there was only the two of them, hearts pounding in unison. I, I love you too, Jungkook whispered, finally letting the words free, his hands clutching Taehyung's drenched jacket. I've always loved you, even when I thought you didn't care. A smile broke through Taehyung's face, the kind that lit up every shadow, every pain, every lonely memory. Then, then let's not waste another second. No more silence, no more distance, just us together, always. Jungkook nodded, tears mingling with rain, a shaky laugh escaping him. Always, he echoed. And in that downpour, under the stormy sky, they kissed. Not gently, not cautiously, but fully, passionately, letting the months of longing, heartbreak, and hidden feelings pour into that single moment. The rain soaked them, but they barely noticed. The city, the storm, the world, they didn't exist outside their embrace. When they finally pulled back, foreheads resting together, Taehyung whispered, voice low and trembling, I'll never let you feel alone again. Not now, not ever. Jungkook smiled through his tears, finally feeling the warmth that had been missing for weeks. I'll never let you go either, he whispered. Somewhere in the distance, the storm began to ease, and as the rain slowed to a gentle drizzle, Jungkook and Taehyung stood together, drenched, hearts entwined, ready to face everything, Jimin, the future, the world together, because love, tested by distance, heartbreak, and sacrifice, had survived, and now it was unstoppable. Over the next few weeks, life found a new rhythm. Taehyung balanced supporting Hana with spending time with Jungkook. Jungkook, in turn, began to heal, helping Taehyung in taking care of Hana. Late night walks, library study sessions, small smiles shared across campus, every moment a small step toward rebuilding what was temporarily lost. And when Hana's health stabilized, he watched them with a quiet, contented smile, knowing his best friend had found happiness without guilt. Months later, the three of them were sitting at a cafe, Hana laughing at a story Taehyung told, Jungkook nudging Taehyung's shoulder playfully, and Taehyung watching them both, heart full. Love had survived misunderstandings, heartbreak, and secrets. And now, with honesty and courage, Jungkook and Taehyung were free to finally live their story together.